Just before I start this, I want to note that I was the only Y chromosome holding person in the whole cinema. Yeah, I was on my own as well, that makes it worse. Movie thoughts. Me Before You is a romantic comedy that stars Sam Claflin and Emilia Clarke. It is about a paraplegic who effectively is done with life and wants to end everything and doesn't have any adventure. He was very adventurous before. He gets knocked down by a motorcycle and then pretty much gives up. And it is about Lou Clarke, who then takes on the job as his carer. I just noticed that Emilia Clarke and Lou Clarke have the same last name. That's really weird, actually. Anyway, Lou Clarke decides to take on this job because she needs the money to be Will... I can't even remember his last name. That's how much of an impact this character had on me. I'll get to that in a minute. To look after Will, who is now disabled, and pretty much her job is just to keep him company. Now, before I actually get on to the big nitty-gritty about this film, I just want to say something about the direction. The direction was boring, it was bland, there was nothing fantastic about it. I sat there pretty much all the way through trying to look at it from a director's point of view and a cinematographer's point of view, and there's nothing that stands out. In fact, there's actually quite a lot of things that that are kind of cringeworthy in places. For instance, people walking from right to left on the screen, and it doesn't look nice. That's what I'm gonna say about that. There's a lot of weird stuff and a lot of rules of cinema that are broken. That's all I'm going to say about the direction, because I want this to be mainly about the performances in the actors. Now, I actually have a lot of conflicting views on the actors and their portrayals. So let's start off with Emilia Clarke's portrayal. I sat down to this film. Okay, I'll say it first. I'm not a fan of this sort of genre. I don't really do romantic comedies very well. I think they're fairly boring and they're all the same. There's nothing new into this. I was actually kind of looking forward to this film, though, because it had a story of a disability, a disabled person, and I was hoping that it would really show the intricate levels of disability and what it can mean to someone, and instead of it just being a love story, it was a love story. That's pretty much what this is. It's kind of... yeah, it was everything I was worried it was going to be. So Emilia Clarke, actually, at the beginning, I sat down and I just thought, okay, it's another weak female character that's boring and monotonous and doesn't have anything to add. Okay, I don't have any feelings for this character. I don't really care about this character because she doesn't offer anything for me as a person. I actually grew to like Emilia Clarke in this role. I actually thought that her performance over time, it grew, and I thought that she had a character arc, and it was a really actually kind of a touching character arc, and I felt a lot for Lou Clarke. So hats off to Emilia Clarke. I thought she did a fairly good job. I don't think that Emilia Clarke on her own could have done this. Any actress could have done this. But I think that she has put a different sort of spin on it. She's made that obviously very quirky character. I mean, okay, I'm just going to call her the Bridget Jones character from now on, because it's that quirky character that nobody likes, that is overlooked by everyone, that suddenly finds this guy that's interested in her and whatever, and blah, 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 and then there's two guys chasing her. Doesn't matter. We're calling her a Bridget Jones character. She is a Bridget Jones style of character. That's pretty much where a lot of rom-coms are stealing from at the moment. There's a lot of that sort of thing, especially with Bridget Jones 3. Why? You don't need that many films. Yeah, Emilia Clarke, I felt that she was compelling and that her character grew with time going through the film. So hats off to Emilia Clarke. I liked that character in the end. Usually I wouldn't. However, okay, so let's move on to Sam Claflin, and he was just... the big problem with this film is that it doesn't show disability how it is. There's no... I didn't feel that Sam Claflin was... and I don't even remember his name, his character's name. I know it was Will something, I can't remember. I just don't feel that he had any kind of feel behind him. That I was not compelled by this character at all. Okay, so here's the thing. Sam Claflin played his depression as the very boring, monotonous sarcasm that was in his voice, and that was pretty much all he did all the way through it. He sat like this and talked like this, and that's pretty much all he did. Now, okay, he is paralyzed pretty much from the neck down. The character can't move, and I get that. And I didn't want to see anything like big or whatever, but at the same time, just being depressed isn't just talking in a really monotonous voice all the time and being really annoyed with people.
You don't have to talk across me, Mother. My brain isn't paralyzed. Yet.
That's not it. And actually, what really pissed me off with this is the fact that effectively Will wants to kill himself because he can't see a future, and he literally doesn't want to be in the wheelchair. He doesn't want to live like that. He can't face it. He had such an active life before, and that's been taken away from him, and he just can't do it. He doesn't want to. He's not going to. There. Okay? Herein lies my problem with it, personally. I didn't feel that he wanted to kill himself. I didn't see that depression. There wasn't a depression in him. He was smiling 75% of this movie. He was smiling. Like, that's not right at all. And fair enough, Lou Clarke comes in, and yes, she is a charismatic person, and yes, you would get a smile out of someone maybe that depressed, that low inside themselves. You might crack a smile out of them, but it wouldn't be all the time. Like, it was literally every single scene he and she were in together. He was just smiling. He was happy. That isn't someone who wants to kill himself. Not at all. Not one bit. I did not believe that part of it. There was no level to his character at all. And that is a crime. Because I wanted to see something with that disability. I wanted to see the effects of disability on someone's psyche. I wanted to see that. I wanted to see someone like me who is active out there all the time, and that is taken away from them. And I can imagine what that would be like. Like, genuine hatred for everyone around you because they can do loads of shit and you have to be spoon-fed day in, day out. And I didn't get that. I didn't get that at all. I didn't feel for this character, and that's the biggest problem with this movie. You don't feel for the main character. And when you don't feel for the main character, you switch off like that. Now, the supporting cast was actually really good. Charles Dance was fantastic as Will's dad. And actually, although I did... the moment he came on screen, I did go dan 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 dan. That's enough of that. I can't believe I just did that. Yeah, I did think he's a Lannister. You can't trust him. But having said that, I got more of a character arc from Charles Dance's character from, I think his name was Stephen. I remember. Yeah, it was Stephen Traynor. I remember his character's name. That means that the other character was Will Traynor. Yeah, that's it. That's right. Okay. I got there eventually. It's only like 10 minutes it's taken me to do that. Good Jesus. But I got more of a character arc from his mum and dad than I did from him. And, like, I felt for all the sub-characters. All the sub-characters had really great arcs and... like, they were played well, and I felt for them, and, you know, I could understand their points of views and things like that.
Will's barely left the house in 2 years. We have tried.
Yes, but we haven't succeeded.
Will needs to be allowed to feel like a man.
Okay, so how I would fix this film, because I have to say it, because if I'm shitting on it this bad, I have to say how I would personally want to see this, and how I want to see this story arc go. Okay, so let's change it a little bit. Will isn't massively rich, because in the film he is massively rich. He can pretty much afford anything. Like, his parents are big millionaires, they own a castle. You know, he's struggling to make ends meet with his, like, medical bills and everything like that. He has two parents that, yes, they love him, but they are getting sick and tired of it. He himself hates himself. He hates himself for putting himself in a position where he is dependent on everyone. Lou Clarke, she can stay the same. I actually liked her character and her character arc. She can stay the same. Finally, there's no love interest. I don't want the love interest between Will and Lou. I don't think it needs it. I just want them to be... I want them to start off really awkward like they did and have a really great friendship. And I want to see a friendship blossom. That's what I wanted. I wanted to see Will realise that he does have a friend and, you know... And I also want Lou to give up from time to time. I don't want her to have this really great up and beat atmosphere about herself. And she did at times go, I give up. I can't do this. But that was because she's a weak character rather than because she generally couldn't do it anymore. I didn't quite get that. I would have liked her character to be a little bit stronger. I know I just said that Lou's character wasn't going to change, but I think for the audience, I'm going to say it, like, it must be something to do with the audience that these films are targeted at. They like the goofy characters, okay, so let's keep that. Let's keep her goofy. Let's keep her cheerful. Let's keep her knocked down. I don't agree with it. I think that we deserve more from a really strong female lead. I think we deserve more for that, but let's keep it that way. Then, the focus of the film isn't the romance. It should be on the disability. That would be brilliant. Like, I want to see the effects of this disability, and then I want to see them get around it. Like, I want to see him doing, because he was a sporting person, I want to see him doing, say, basketball, wheelchair basketball, or something like that. I know that probably he couldn't because he had such a severe level of disability, maybe that wasn't going to be possible, but I want to see him do something brilliant, like over the top, and then the story can go the same way that it did. And I'm not going to give away the ending, because actually it is a big spoiler, and it was spoiled for me before I went in, because I saw a trailer and sort of saw a tagline that kind of gave it away, and there was also people that gave things away who had read the books, and that was annoying. Although it is kind of obvious where it goes, and you kind of see where it's going to go all the way through. That's from my point of view. Maybe I'm just cynical. And those are actually my thoughts on Me Before You. I wasn't actually going to make this. I was going to just leave this movie because I hadn't finished The Nice Guys, and I've been sitting on the recorded footage for about a week now, and I haven't done anything with it. I also haven't really got time to keep editing videos like I have been doing. But those are my thoughts on Me Before You, and because of all those, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Okay, so I've been thinking about my scoring system for a couple of days now, and I've actually came to the conclusion that all of my scores before this were right, okay? But for this one, I've actually looked at it from a different point of view. Basically, I saw the film and I said, okay, so it starts off from a 5 out of 10, and if it does something good, it gets a point, and if it does something bad, it gets a point. The only reason why it didn't stay a 5 out of 10, because for me it is really a 5 out of 10, the only reason that it got a 6 out of 10 was because the audience that I was in, and it was a half-full theatre on the second week of release, they really enjoyed it, and I think that it was catered for that audience, and it provided a service that audience wanted, and I think they really enjoyed it. So that's why I think it's a 6 out of 10. Personally, for me, I think it's more of a 4 out of 10, but I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. I'm going to keep it as a 6 out of 10, and from now on I'm going to try and separate the score from how I actually feel, and hopefully that will make the scoring process a little better, because then it's like, well, this is the sort of film you need to go and see if you like this sort of film. And if you like this sort of film, go and see it. Like, I don't have any problem with it. I didn't sit there regretting being there, and like, I enjoyed parts of it, and I did enjoy parts of the story and the characters. Charles Dance in particular, I thought he was brilliant. I've actually been talking longer about this than I have for any other movie thoughts, and that's kind of weird, actually. I'm probably going to cut quite a lot of this out, so if bits of it doesn't make any sense, I've done a really bad job in the editing room. Anyway, guys, until next time, I'll see you then.